Guys, how's it going? Motor Dragon here again, and I wanted to do a video that I never ever do on my own bikes, and that is a review. So today I'm going to do a review of my 2018 Yamaha MT-10 because she is a fucking beast.
Day ones, no time for fake ones. Got me, I got you. All dreams they come true. Stay down till the end. Need me, I need them. Whole team gon' make M's. No time for fake friends. Too many people be calling my phone, but I never be picking it up. Got everyone that I need in my circle. I never be going and switching it up. Rocking with the people who been following me when I never thought it would've happened, and I never got love. Now they wanna piggyback on everything I got. I never knew one from the bottom, but now I've had enough. Please stay away, find a new hobby, cause you've been too close to my personal space.
So as I said, this is a 2018 Yamaha MT-10. It's one thing I never do in any of the bikes that I own. I never do a review, and I don't know why. It's just something I never do. I've had this bike since October 2019, so I know what I like, what I don't like. I'm gonna try a different road. It's been absolutely lashing rain the past 2 days. It literally stopped 2 hours ago. But it's going to be a long-term ownership of this bike. The bike now has 10,220 kilometers, and I bought it with just under 7,000. Probably done about 4,000 kilometers on this bike. Thereabouts. I would have done a lot more, but obviously COVID kicked in, and that kind of ruined the summer plans for everything for me. I've done 2 trips or so. About, the roads are still a little bit moist in the back here. About 500 kilometers, probably, I don't know, 350 miles or so. So little trips. I don't really do a lot of trips anyway. I've done 2 track days with one coming up, and I've just done a few little bits and bobs to it. Before I get into the bike, let's just go over the bike. You've seen some of the cinematic shots of the bike. It's a beauty. This is the grey with the fluoro yellow wheels. So on the left control we have our traction control, which you can actually turn off for those who don't know. You have to be completely stopped, and I think it's just you hold it down. I actually forget which one it is. Like, I've done it a few times, I just forget if it's up or down, but you have to be completely stopped and you hold it up or down, and traction control will turn off. Mode 1 isn't very intrusive. Mode 2 is quite nice actually. Mode 2 is it's just enough, just as the kind of slips it kicks in. It's nice actually on track. And then your mode 3 is actually your wheelie control as well, which is the biggest pain in the hole ever. When you're on the track, it's a bit of a pain in the hole because the way it works actually cuts the power. So you're trying to go and it's kick, nah, it's going. Yeah, obviously it has ABS, but you cannot turn off ABS, which is fine. I haven't had it be like too big of an issue. It's even on track. You have your high beam, low beam, and it's also your pass button. So that's how you flash your light. So your button that you'd normally flash with actually controls your different, I was going to say menus, but they're not menus, but this controls the odometer. There you go, odometer. This one has Yamaha factory grip, so you know, they're obviously not on all the bikes, but very nice actually, to be fair. This is for your cruise control, so you're set up and down. So you put this button in, orange light comes on. You have to be, I think it's 80 kilometers an hour in 5th gear, around there, because if I try to do it now, holy shit, it worked. So with the traction control, I actually have it on now, and as you can see, I'm in 4th gear, going 57 kilometers an hour. And originally I thought it was to do with the speed, but it's more just the gears, and now you can up the speed without using the throttle. He's turning anyway, so I couldn't really show that. But you up the speed, down the speed, and then any of the brakes and the clutch will disengage it. And it's actually quite nice. It's really smooth. I've never had any issues with it. And I know everyone says cruise control on a bike. I use it so much. I never thought I would use it, but I use it so much. It's amazing. It's so nice. Especially, like, you know, this bike is a bit of a, it's not a bit, it is a hoon bike. So being able to sit on the motorway and just have your cruise control on is so nice, because you kind of tend to do that with it. Even, you know, in 6th gear it will still pull. And then indicators and your horn, which is a very pitiful horn.
That's
what she said.
I'll show you my horn.
That's what she said.
And then on the other side we have our modes, which goes from mode 1, 2 and 3, and then obviously your start stop, which is the 1, and then your hazard lights, and they're the controls. But that's the hand controls, and the dash, there's not much to it because everything's displayed nicely for you. It does show you your bike temperature, you can see it there, and if you hold the select button it goes to your degrees, like your air temperature. On the dash then obviously you have your revs, you have your clock, eco mode if you're, you know, if you're riding eco, which it always really says you are. Gear indicator says if you have your quick shifter on, your modes and your traction control, and then obviously if you have your traction control off, it will come up with your traction control off and a nice orange light comes up. Your fuel gauge on the right, which I do have to say is not the best fuel gauge. Once it goes below half, it tends to always say, oh, you're nearly out of fuel, and then all of a sudden it just gets another bar. And the same if it's just about on reserve, it will come up, you know, flash a fuel light on it just to say that you're low, and then you'll get a bar and you'll be fine. So it's very annoying. And then speaking of fuel, this is the one biggest complaint everyone has on his bike, is the fuel. Yes, the fuel economy is shit, but who the fuck cares? Have you seen this bike? Can you hear this bike? You don't buy this bike for fuel economy, and people do tour on it. I have a decal on it, as you can hear, and there's still a little bit of a delay when you just hit the throttle. You know, a power commander or an ECU flash will definitely take that out. Pretty much everyone that I've heard that has an ECU flash just says that the bike is a completely different bike. So I might get a tune. I'm not a fan of flashes, but I might get a power commander soon. So being a 2018, it does have the quick shifter as standard, which I'll show you now. It's quite nice. It doesn't have the blipper, which would be very nice in this bike, but the quick shifter does just fine, and it's a really nice quick shifter. Sometimes it can be a little bit on the choppy side, but I don't know, for me that kind of adds to the character of this bike. But the front, we have a nice KYB suspension, which is alright. I actually have my forks lower. They have 3 rings on them, and the top ring is the standard one, and I have mine on the ring at the bottom, and oh my god, it absolutely makes such a difference to the bike. If you buy one of these or have one of these and want to change the handling, drop the fork, get your suspension sorted then, adjusted for your height and weight. Only thing with dropping with the forks is that every time you hit a bump on the road, the bike has a tendency to wobble a little bit. Now it does have an electronic steering dampener, which is great, but I think it works with the traction control, so it's nice in the sense that you don't really feel that it's on. But as you can see with it, there is a bit of a wiggle, and obviously I could make it wiggle more if I wanted to, but I really don't want to come off. Come on, you want to show off the bike and you just lock it up. And then at the back, I think it's I actually forget what shock's on the back. I think it's a KYB as well. I have pretty much everything standard on it, except I have a decat, which as you can hear sounds fucking amazing. And then I also have wheel decals, which really change the look of the bike. And shameless plug, if you want to get your own, head over to spinandstickers.com and enter my promo code MotoDragon10 for 10% off your order. They genuinely are really nice stickers. They're amazing wheel decals. I bought them and put them on, and then I asked for a discount code for you guys because I just thought they were amazing. The wheels are a nice bright color, but they, you know, they kind of get a bit ugly to look at after a while. So the stickers really help break it up. So as I said, fuel isn't the best on this bike, and there's a 17-litre tank, and average I get about 150 to 170 kilometers out of it. Now that's not the complete empty, but that's around to where the fuel light will come on and I need to fill up, so I could probably get another 20 or 30 kilometers out of the tank. It's such a fun bike. The main thing with this bike is the power and torque. I think it says it's about 160 horsepower. I think it's more around the 143, 145 mark at the wheel, which for this type of bike is actually amazing. It's actually stupid. It'll 4th gear power wheelie all you want. If you you want to actually find out the things that I love and hate about this bike, I do have a video up on the top 5 things I love and hate about this bike. So I'm not going to bother going into them, but some of the notable things to mention, because it's a review, are: one is the brakes. The brakes are alright. I don't find them to be particularly good, and especially on the track, they're not the best. Make the brakes just that little bit better. I've changed my pads to EBC H8. Really do change the feel of the brakes. They make them so much nicer. Steel lines will definitely be a nice upgrade as well. But the one thing a lot of people do is they get the Brembo Masters cylinder on it, which I was considering, but it's €250 and I'm like, eh. A lot of people complain about a jerky throttle and this, that and the other. I think it's perfectly fine. Like, I'm in first gear, mode 1, going slow, and I don't find it to be an issue at all. Now, it can be jerky, but I think it's fairly decent. Every complaint with this bike is so nitpicky. Like, you really have to think hard to nitpick this bike. I just think it's an amazing bike. I just don't think it can be faulted in any way. Like, obviously the suspension is a bit meh, but get the SP version and your suspension isn't meh. You know, they do have the nicer model as well. This is the standard. The brakes are fine, the suspension is fine. It actually handles amazingly. Once you drop those front forks, the bike handles completely differently. I do need to get my suspension set up, and I will do that, and just make us, at the moment it's just a little bit on the firm side, but the actual handling on the bike is amazing. My very first track day with it, I really didn't like it. Oh, little puppy. I felt like I was really wrestling and fighting the bike, and then once I dropped the forks, the last 2 track days were amazing on this bike. If anyone's watching this video and because they're on the fence of getting, oh my god, all the flies, oh my god, if anyone's on the fence about getting this or maybe the S1000, I'd get this. So I rode the S1000, and yeah, it felt a lot nicer, to be 100% honest. It was, you know, German, you know, Nein, Scheiße, all that good stuff. It felt that bit more premium, and it was so smooth. But it's not this bike. This bike just has a character, and it has like a little special place. It just unlocks that little child inside you that the S1000 just didn't. The S1000 is amazing, it was, just felt a bit meh. This is definitely not like that. So why do people love this bike? Well, mainly that. That's a big reason why, because of that fucking power. But this bike as a whole is just incredible, and even to the point where if I was to get rid of this, or whenever I sell it, I'd probably be going for the MT-10 SP. I'd stick with the MT-10. I just love the 10 that much. And the only reason I'd go for the SP is just for the little extra goodies I had. Hope I've enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think of the MT-10, and let me know if I convinced you to get one, because you really should get one. And if you've never ridden one, just try find one to ride. You will, I think you'll want to buy it straight away. But anyway guys, look, that's a video. I hope all of you enjoyed. Like, comment and subscribe. I'll talk to you on the next video.